Hello everyone, it's TheQuiffGamer here coming at you with a video called Why FIFA 21 Will Spell the End of the Franchise. During lockdown, I've been doing a lot of things to keep myself busy, as I'm sure you all are, and one of those things just so happens to have been playing a lot more FIFA, particularly Ultimate Team, which as we all know, takes up about 99% of EA's attention due to bringing home the big bucks. Lockdown does strange things to people. Having played about 300 games on Ultimate Team over the past 2 months, I wanted to write an expose on what I thought FIFA had become and why all of a sudden there was this huge surge in videos criticising the game with titles like Why FIFA is Finished Forever and Why FIFA Sucks. I watched all them videos with a keen interest and I was actually disappointed with what I saw. Most of them didn't reflect how I viewed the game at all. They didn't bring to light any of those important issues that I think we don't talk about. So I thought, if you don't mind, I'd take a few minutes of your time to talk about the real issues surrounding FIFA, and in particular Ultimate Team, and why I think FIFA 21 may be the last time we give FIFA a chance in this current climate. Number 1. It's no longer a football game. One thing you could always bank on with FIFA when purchasing it from a supermarket or a game store is that you'd at the very least get what you were paying for. You would expect a football simulator, and you'd get a football simulator. We all preferred it to Pro Evo because, let's be honest, it had everything going for it. It had better graphics, better gameplay, better modes, and all the licensed leagues and kits, and that really made a difference. It killed PES from popular culture, and you know what? That's actually okay. PES didn't keep up, and that's on them. I don't blame FIFA for eradicating the competition, so long as it continued to be fun, fair football game. Something we'll just call the 3 Fs, alright? Anyway, somewhere along the way of FIFA 18-19, Ultimate Team became this unstoppable behemoth of a mode. And again, quite rightly so. It's really likeable, you feel invested, the pack system was exciting, and the demand was clearly there for a fantasy football style game, similar to that of Fantasy Premier League on the PC. But by the time FIFA 20 came around, those 3 Fs stopped being fun, fair football, and rapidly became what I can only describe as a farcical fuckfest. The gameplay was corruptible. In fact, there was no game to play in the end, because every match I took part of in the last 200 or so games didn't resemble anything like football. You see, football has logic, pattern, structure and flow. It's what makes the actual sport of football so beautiful. A give and go, a 1-2, a well-worked routine or a set piece. These are things we see all the time in the sport, and when they're executed at the highest level, it's better than anything else in the world, I swear. And when we see pioneers of the game come into play like Pele, Maradona, Messi, Ronaldo, we marvel collectively at how they can take on 5 men in a crazy run and smash it in the top corner. We take our hats off to their skill and rightly celebrate them as huge names in sport. But you'll never see Messi or Ronaldo be able to repeat the same run again and again, 7 or 8 times in the same match, because that just doesn't happen. Teams get wise to those tactics, they change their approach, other teammates would get involved, patterns of play would develop and make sure that every attack works differently. That's what makes football beautiful. Even if a team did get spanked 10-0, I could bet my house it wouldn't be the same goal scorer taking on 8 players and scoring the exact same goal every time. But that's where I worry that FIFA says, hold my beer, because all I see now are these so-called meta players, and need I say it, Ben Yedder, Neymar, Mbappe, Ronaldo, Messi, even Aubameyang to a certain extent. They'll run through a team, get to the edge of the box, and if there isn't an angle for a shot on goal, they'll practically run or pass it back to the halfway line, and then come back again. I found myself seeing this every single game. They'll pass around the edge of the box for what seems like an eternity, just going around and around, back to the halfway line, finding a way to feed it to the meta players who will keep repeating the process until there's some sort of sight on goal. Half the time, if you're a good enough player at defending, there isn't even a sight on goal. They could have their backs to goal and be outside the box, and with some bizarre form of trickery, they'll first time finesse shot it across the pitch and into the top corner. And it doesn't really matter if you have one of the elite team of the season goalkeepers with 99 positioning, reaction speed, whatever. They'll stand there and watch as it goes in. Now that's all well and good. Whichever players can execute that know how to defy logic and humanity and embrace FIFA's gameplay flaws in order to win at all costs. But that's not football anymore. That's just a series of random manoeuvres culminating in an unrealistic goal. A goal that's quite often unpreventable. Because believe me, there's absolutely no way you can prevent all 11 of your players from slightly drifting out of position throughout a 90-minute match. The sheer nature of having to control players and move them into positions from time to time means there's always going to be a split second or moment where an opponent can instigate that series of moves in order to get that shot off. And I really don't want people to think I'm being wounded for saying this or deflecting away from the issue. The issue is that a good 80% of FIFA's audience go into a game expecting it to be played a certain way, the way that football is played. And then they soon realise that it's not. You can't defend a player who keeps running into bizarre positions, because why would you? They don't do that in reality, and you can't see how it would benefit them in a video game. They're playing another sport almost entirely, a sport of like lotto multi-ball, some sort of thing where they're doing everything they can to mathematically and statistically win at all costs. It's not football. It's weird. But it's also addictive, because likewise you want to learn how to defend it and how to win the games, and from my experience, it's only in rare moments that you can. And why? For what reason? Well, that leads me to point number 2. Number 2, players are pointless. We grind and we strive and we fight and we spend our whole weekend sometimes battling to win more games than we lose. And for what reason? For better players? For better prizes? To get more coins and packs? The sooner I realised prizes actually mean fuck all was the day I realised that FIFA Ultimate Team is pretty much pointless. And that's because I've beaten far more godlike teams with a bunch of nobodies than I care to mention. My squads towards the beginning consisted of players like Joe Gomez, Nelson Semedo, Jordan Pickford in goal, Jesus and Lucas Moura up front. I'd go up against teams consistently rated 89, full of legends and god cards, and you know the sort. They play really well as well. But you know what? I'd hammer them, time after time. I'd be 4 or 5-0 up by half time and they'd just quit. They would have endless shots too. They would well beat me. They'd round my keeper, whatever, but they would miss. Or the keeper would save them all. And I started to notice my tackles seemed to retain the ball really unnaturally. They were always clean. My passes were pinpoint and sharp. Theirs weren't. It's really odd. I obviously enjoyed the wins, who doesn't, but I couldn't help feel assisted. Assisted by FIFA and assisted by EA. It's as if, in my cynical brain, they wanted to encourage me to play more and encourage the players who'd already spent loads of money on the game to spend more. Because even with their perfect looking team, they still couldn't win. And that's when I realised you'll never find consistency. You'll never get a perfect team, which is what I thought the whole point of it was. The day I got my own 89 rated team was the day I started to find my players really sluggish, lethargic, they were beaten to every dead ball, they were easily manipulated, and my keeper couldn't save a fucking sausage. I now have 89 rated Haaland up front with some unbelievable stats on the left, Werner next to him with his strong right foot, Alisson in goal, team of the season Andy Robertson, Trippier, Kimmich, Brandt, shapeshifter Olmo, basically all the great Bundesliga players, team of the season Kostic, Sabitzer, and they've all got great stats, all in like the 90s. But do they ever feel like that in game? Absolutely not. Why would they? The game wants me to keep grinding, because it knows I'm sinking time into it. Which leads me to my final and most important point that I think most people never talk about, and that's this. Number 3. It's not pay to win, it's pay to lose. This is the saddest one of all, okay? Because we've bred this thought process over the years whereby we think foot is pay to win. You spend the most, you get more packs, you obtain the best cards, and you win more games. And I kind of wish I could say that's true. I wouldn't even be angry if it was, because it makes sense. If you're prepared to part with your hard-earned cash to have a little advantage over a casual gamer, then fair enough, fair fucks to you. You deserve that handicap. Or even if your intentions aren't even that, if they're sweet, if you just love the legendary cards, or you want to play with Neymar and Mbappe because they're more fun to play with, good for you. Your enjoyment levels will be increased, no doubt. But what happened here is kids are now spending all their money on nothing. One game in a blue moon, their elite player will do something exciting, and they'll trick their minds into thinking it was because of the enhanced stats of that player. But it isn't. Any player, given enough games, will produce something special. And I think we all know that deep down because we all started out with those players that weren't special and were capable of doing great things with them. This is all a design to trick gamers into spending more, playing more, grinding more. I genuinely believe that at the start of every game, EA knows who's winning and who's going to lose. Sure, you can definitely influence it marginally by being good at the game, but I don't believe your players make the world a difference. They really don't. Or at least, not the amount the stats on the cards would have you believe. It genuinely is a level playing field and you're never truly in control. So where does that leave me? It leaves me in two schools of thought actually. On the one hand, it's just a game. I can enjoy it for what it is. I'm a human being. It's a good looking game and it's the only sort of game that reflects football visually the way it looks in the world today. But it doesn't represent football the way that it's played today. It's too broken and too reliant on people's money for that. So if you're able to enjoy it casually as a little time killer, that's great. Or as a social thing with your mates, even better. But you'll never really fully enjoy it because it's a bit broken, but hopefully it won't stress you out in the process. On the other hand, there's a school of thought saying it's dangerous, and I think people are waking up to that. It's not half the game it used to be, and while Foot and all the competitive game modes are a step forward in the industry, they're a step back in terms of our enjoyment. Unless FIFA 21 does something radical to change the formula, which I doubt they'll be able to do because of all the money involved and probably because of this corona lockdown, I think that'll be the last FIFA installment that we all rush out en masse to go and buy on the first day. I guarantee that in 2 years' time, there'll be some sort of competitor out, and it won't be PES. It'll probably be something small that follows the Fortnite Warzone free-to-play model, and I think it will spell the end of FIFA as we know it. In fact, I'll put a bet on that. I would love to put my house on that. Let's check back in 2022 and see if my prediction comes true, okay? Cheers for watching, guys. This is a brand new channel, and if you want to show some support by hitting like and subscribe, I genuinely appreciate that. I want to start doing more content, and hopefully that'll be on its way very soon. I'll do my best to comment and reply to all your thoughts and opinions on everything I've said below. Nice one, you take care and stay safe.